Stop. 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 Fuck! How is everybody doing? Welcome back to Hooligan TV, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. It's going to be revolving a lot more around gaming in a more specific sense. Today's video is going to be about 5 steps you can make in your gameplay to make yourself a better Injustice 2 player. No, they aren't going to be some crazy secret trades that I've learned from professional players or anything close to that. However, I have watched a lot of competitive Injustice 2 and a lot of competitive NetherRealm games in general, as well as I play an unhealthy amount. So today we're going to be taking a look at what you can do to make yourself just a better player. So let's get right into it. So the first and probably most basic, but also most important part of this entire video is simply going to be step 1, which is combos and your combo game. Now this has obviously been over-talked a bunch, and you know that to be good at fighting games you have to know combos, but I mean it more of an abstract way. So what I mean is, instead of practicing on your really long strings of combos, which you definitely should spend time on that, you need to practice on being able to convert off smaller combos, like an anti-air. We'll talk more about anti-airs and stuff like that in the later parts of the video, but what I mean is when you accidentally catch someone in the air with a stray hit, you have to be able to convert that into some sort of string of hits that leads to just better percentages over time. That's obviously something I can still work on, and it is probably the hardest thing to improve on, as you have a lot of inputs to have to deal with. But nonetheless, like I said, it is super important. So yeah, it's also important to note that yes, even though you will be practicing your short combos, you do need to practice your strong combos, very long setups, and etc. So the best way to do that is hop into practice mode with a character you enjoy. I always recommend playing with a different amount of characters, learn a little bit more, and learn how you fight them later on. But nonetheless, hop in practice mode, give it a quick go. I low-key spend anywhere from 1 to 2 hours like a day with a certain character, just blabbing combos and such. But it is really important, and it's obviously the basis of the game. It is a combo game, so pay really special attention to that. It obviously is important. I don't want to harp on it too much because it's pretty well known. You have to know how to combo, but I thought it was important to throw it in here anyway, just for those of you who don't know, I guess. So yeah. Something else important to understand, and we'll talk about the other half of this as well, is with your combo game, make it a point to practice different setups in different strings of combos, because obviously if you know one combo that does, I don't know, 40%, that's helpful, and it will obviously help you win games. But you need to be able to know different ones as to keep yourself unpredictable. And like I said, we'll talk about that later. But it's important to be able to convert different things in stray hits over a whole 2-round game to maintain that edge on your opponent. So number 2 for our 5 steps to becoming a better player is going to be learning and being comfortable with advanced tech. I use the word advanced very loosely. It's not hard to learn. It's just very hard to implement. People don't really understand that it's the small things that add up to the wins, especially in ranked and professional and such. Everyone can combo, but not everyone can do the little things that lead to the combos. So what I mean by advanced tech is, 1, you want to work on your rolls. There's a multitude of reasons. First off, a roll is a really good mix-up. You can close the distance really quick if you get a long distance knockdown, and then follow up with a grab, convert into a longer combo, etc. Also, roll is a good way for any type of ranged character to get in on them. So if you're getting spammed out by like a Deadshot, if Black Adam is using his down forward 3 on you, or down forward 2, his lightning, you can kind of bypass that and get in on him in an easier way by rolling in and then converting that into a combo. The next advanced tech I want to talk about is the air escapes. These will be used less often, and I don't almost ever see them used in ranked online. Obviously, it's a really big part of professional play. But the reason air escapes are so important is if you ever get back 3'd in the middle of any combo, you know that's going to lead to an extra 30%. The amount of air time that you are in the air is such an abundance amount, or such in abundance, that they can convert you with any string of moves that leads to 30 to 40% off your HP bar. So most of the time, not all the time, it's worth it to use the 2 bars, which I believe what an air escape costs, if you ever get hit by a back 3 or forward 3, and air escape out of it. That way you don't have to take the massive amount of damage that's coming your way inevitably. So yeah. Also, something that's used obviously often and is pretty basic understanding of the game, but I still feel the need to harp on it, is clashes. So obviously it clashes when you click the meter burn button towards whatever the direction you're taking damage from. You'll start a clash. You get 1 per game, and it starts on your second bar, 1 for each opponent, or for each player. And although it's really easy in practice to use this one, and you should use it every game, it has the same effect as an air escape, I'd say, in the way that if you get 1 free. So if you're ever fighting somebody online and you instantly see them hit like a conversion, like a mid, and you know that they have the skill level to train this into a 40% combo, you should try it your best ability to, as soon as possible, I must stress, to clash the conversion. So most people, what they do is they will wait 20% into a combo and then clash it just to get out because they're worried about getting low. And yeah, it's still helpful in all means, but it won't do nearly as much if you clash early, and that helps you preserve as much HP bar as possible. So the last advanced tech that I'm going to harp on, which is by far the easiest, is just the bounce cancel. So this isn't really an advanced tech. I just put it in here kind of to let you know that it's not really impactful, but it can help if you're trying to if you have the resources, if you manage your resources well, and you have a lot of bar left, you can burn 2 of them to do a bounce cancel, which is back meter burn after a string, and it will do a back 3 or a front 3 if you want to do front meter burn. And this is just a way to extend a combo longer than it might have already been and apply a little bit more damage at the cost of meter. So if you're ever on that extra last stretch and you're trying to beat someone out in damage, it's important to know that and be comfortable with it as well. Alrighty, so number 3 on our list of 5 is going to be, in my opinion, the most important, yet the hardest one to really change. So this one's going to be mix-ups, and I mean that more broadly. So I do mean practice your 50-50s, and when you get a knockdown reset, practice setting up for a combo with your 50-50s. But I also mean, this is kind of a 2-in-1, is changing how you play in the course of one match. So in a match, I have this problem, everyone has this problem, you have to kind of break the shell of being a really aggressive player or a really defensive player. And you have to do that in one game, and that's really hard to do, and it's something you have to actively try and practice on. So instead of being in one game, every time you get a knockdown, you don't always want to come with an aerial and start a 50-50 like that way. You don't want to do the same 50-50 over and over again. You don't want to stay in block and only be able to punish. You want to be able to do all these different things in the course of one round over one game. This way you'll avoid being predictable to your opponent, and this will lead to a much better punish game, much better conversions, much better combos. It'll lead to a lot of things that people don't really think about, and that's why this one's so important. You don't want to just work on your 50-50 game. You want to work on your whole 50-50 play style. You want to be parts aggressive. You want to stop being aggressive, then you want to be defensive. You want to stop being defensive, and you want to be a little bit neutral. You want to space. You want to spam out some projectiles. Then you want to be aggressive again. If you avoid being predictable in fighting games, it makes the most massive difference that you wouldn't even believe. It'll make you a much better player, and that's why I harp on this one a little bit more than I should. But long story short, make your best attempt at practicing being unpredictable in any scenario. So number 4, this is probably the second most important of the entire video. Don't play fucking Deadshot. No. For real. Just, it's time to fucking stop. I can't just... Oh. No, but for real, number 4 for our 5-step is not going to be not to play Deadshot, even though I would like you not to, is to work on your punish game. So every move has different frame data, and I don't expect you to memorize every move and every move's frame data. It's way too much to even get a decent grasp, and I try my best to even follow up, but it's hard. So to shorten this into something that you can actually work on how you position yourself during a game, and work on being able to punish when they use any sort of string on block. So if you block a string, if you know that string is going to be negative on block and you're going to be able to punish that, work on the punish as fast as you can in the frame. So go into practice with a friend, with a computer, let it hit you, and then try, if you block a string, to retaliate and punish that as fast as possible. There's a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of different things that this can lead to. Obviously, if you punish correctly, you can get a nice, juicy 20 to 40% combo depending on how much bar you have. You deny them the ability to apply pressure on you. And a lot of times, this is kind of a loosely based rule, because you'll have players who are really, really good, and they'll do certain cancels that makes blocking or punishing a string on block very hard. And yeah, this isn't a a fine-tuned, oh my lord, I'm going to teach you the 5 steps to getting a date. No, this is not going to work every time. This is just to improve your own gameplay and make yourself a better player overall. So work on the punish game. Work on adding different things into the punish game so that you can do different conversions, different lows and highs, and 50-50s on block. It's really important, but that's as much as I'll harp on that one for you. Last one is going to be a little bit nitpicky. It's not going to be like super influential, but it is the small things that will make the difference in the wins and the losses, especially in ranked and professional play. And this is going to be spacing and anti-airs, stuff like that. So what I mean by spacing is, one, you're going to want to not be a static statue in your games. You're going to want to make an active attempt to move around, play footsies, go back and forth, kind of make it so they can't just get a free aerial on you. You want to space out of their moves if you know that they're going to try to go in on you with an aerial 2, and you know that. So if they whiff, it's a lot easier to punish moves on whiff, and this kind of goes back to the punish game. But yeah, so if they whiff any move, you can get a full combo off that. Like if they miss an aerial and you're on top of it and you have your frames and you're like, oh, I got this opportunity, and you have this opening, you can make a lot happen in that opening. And it's important to know to be able to space correctly for certain moves and different characters. And different characters have different moves in different ranges and etc. And it's hard to be able to memorize them all, and I don't expect that. Like I said, this is just a simple way to make your gameplay better. And so the second half of this spacing kind of part of the video is going to be also learning about anti-airs. So spacing kind of leads to anti-airs. If you space correctly, it's really hard for them to get an aerial on you, and if they attempt one, you can do an anti-air. So the most basic one would be down 2, so pretty much an uppercut. Every character has one, usually really fast on frames, usually hits above the head, has a large hitbox. That's one. It doesn't lead to a lot of combos, but you can always convert off of that, so that's always good. Jumping back and then using a 1 or 2 aerial. Also, something you can do is use projectiles. So if you're like Hellboy, for instance, he has the down back 1. That'll shoot his revolver into the air. That's a really good anti-air. It really stuffs out, gets you free damage, stuffs out any approach that they can do. Some other include Red Hood. He has his aerial little Gotham stars, I think they're called, and those as well. So those kind of moves all work well as anti-airs, and that is going to help you in the long run. I know it seems like a really small, nitpicky kind of part of the video, but that's just kind of what the point is to make you a better player. And if you look out for these things and you space correctly, it makes it really hard for your enemy to get in on you. This leads to more openings. This leads to better position control on the stage. It's all little small things that lead to the wins, and that's kind of what matters. So that's going to wrap it up for our 5 steps. So that pretty much wraps up the entire video. If this helped you at all, let me know down in the comment section down below. If it didn't help you at all and you want to flame me, let me know in the comment section down below. I feed on the hate. If there's something you think I left out, if there's a more important step to becoming a better player, throw that down in the comment section down below. I would like to know it. I'm trying to improve my own gameplay and manage that as well. But lastly, I would just like to thank everyone who watched. If you watched to the end of the video, thank you. If you just clicked on the video and watched a couple seconds, thank you. I really appreciate it. And that about wraps it up. So yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.